Hey, it's RJ Hodges here, of course, and I want to just share something with you guys really quickly. I think it'll be extremely beneficial for all of you because it's something that has come up over and over again, and it's a question. And the question is as entrepreneurs, as professionals, as ambitious people, why do we do this? And I know you may be saying, RJ, what the heck is this? So let me explain. Let me paint a picture for you, and it'll probably help a whole lot more. So I'm working with a client, and of course I do business development coaching. So I'm working with this client and I'm helping her build her business. And I'm telling her some things that she needs to do, some strategy things that she needs to do to help her business get more established, help it to create more revenue, so forth and so on. And immediately, as I'm telling her these things and these suggestions, she goes into this conversation. And the conversation goes like this. She's saying, what if I had this? Or she's saying, if I had, social media people to work with me every single day that could monitor my pages and post for me, RJ, I would have more posts. If I had more money for a better marketing budget, RJ, I could put myself out there more. If I didn't have this, or if I had that, then I could do the things that you're suggesting. I could do them. I could do them bigger and better. And I said, of course you can. But what it prompted in me is why do we always go there? And if you've never done it, maybe this video is not for you, but I know I have. I've looked at things in my life and I've looked at things in my business and I've said, if only I had this, then I could really make that happen. But the crazy part about it is, and what I had to share with this client is, let's bring it back to reality. And the reality is that you don't have any of those things currently. And you don't have the means to get those things right now, which means that you don't have the money to pay a full social media marketing team to post on your behalf and to monitor your pages and do all of these things. You're not at that stage yet. You're not at the stage where you can spend, $20,000 a month in marketing. But what I want to share with you guys is every time we allow our thought process to go there, what we do is we diminish the creativity of accomplishing whatever we need to accomplish right now. Because I'm a firm believer that the mind and the brain, it gives you answers to the questions that you ask. It gives you answers to the things that you're currently thinking about. And I've done this in my own life when I'm going to that place of what if, and what if I had this, I could do this better. And what I started to do was, okay, let's not waste time with allowing my mind to go that route. Why not ask myself, how do I get this accomplished right where I am today? Because the moment you ask yourself that question, it's amazing the ideas. It's amazing what type of things now come to your mind about how to take what you already have and accomplish that same thing. So we have to be really careful when we start to, I don't want to call it daydreaming, but it's almost like we start making excuses of why we can't be effective today because of what we don't have. And again, like I said, the reality is you don't have whatever that is. And if you can go get that, fine, go get it. But if you can't, to allow your mind to go there, it's diminishing what you could be creating right now. And what I've discovered about entrepreneurship, what I've discovered about people that want to accomplish bigger goals is that it can never be a but. It's always a how. Entrepreneurs, please listen to me. If you're an entrepreneur, it's never a but, it's always a how. No matter what it is that you need to accomplish, if your mindset immediately goes to, but I could if, then you're never going to accomplish it. Because your mindset has to say, it's not a but, it's a how. Whatever that thing is that you need to do right now to further your business or further your profession or whatever it is that you do, you can't think about, but if I had, you got to think about, how do I make this happen in the midst of where I am right now? Because if you don't, what ends up happening is the very reason for why you're doing a thing now becomes the excuse for why you can't do it. I can't tell you how many people that I've coached over the years, and not just them, me too, how many people, and myself included, over the years, that my very reason for doing something now became my excuse for why I couldn't do it. I've coached people and their very reason for building a business is so that they can come out of that corporate structure, so they can come out of the 9 to 5, so they can spend more time with their kids and raising their family and doing the things that they deem most important, right? But sooner or later, that person will take that very reason and now make that the excuse for why they can't do it. They'll tell me something like, RJ, I know you're saying I need to do this and this, but I have kids. And you don't understand because you don't have kids. So if you had kids, and when I start to remind them, those same kids, the reason for why you're doing it in the first place, you've now allowed that to be the excuse for why you can't do it. So we got to be very careful about how we start to allow our minds to drift in these areas, because wherever you are right now, it's enough. It's enough. Wherever you are right now, it's enough. It's enough to accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. Now, you may have to put in a little bit more work. You may have to do some things that aren't as easy, to do if you had the extra help or if you had the bigger budget. I can't tell you how many times in my business over the years where it was things that I needed to do that I didn't have the budget to do it. But I understood that I could not allow what I didn't have, and I could not allow me thinking about what I should have to stop me from making it happen. What I needed to do was allow my mind to focus on the how and not the but. Because if your mind is always on the but, that you're always going to give yourself permission to have a limitation. If you didn't hear that, I'm going to say that again. If your mind is always on the but, if you're always saying that you could do something if you had, what you're doing is you're giving yourself permission to have a limitation. And like I know, any limitation that you allow into your life, it's going to stop you from accomplishing what you really want to accomplish. So you can't afford to have any limitations. You can't afford to give your mind the right to say, but. You have to force your mind to say, how? I never forget, I had I guess I can call him a mentor, and he told me something that I needed to do in my business. And when I found out how much it was going to cost me to do it, I didn't have the money right then. And immediately what I said to him was, but you don't understand. And his thing was no excuse. He was one of those really harsh mentors. You know how that goes. And his thing was no excuse is a good excuse, right? And I didn't understand that at the time, but now I realize that the only thing he was, attempting to get me to do is to change the way I look at the thing. Because if I looked at it and allowed the but to come in and put myself in a limited space, put myself to the point where now I have a limited belief system, he knew that my mind wouldn't operate to where it needed to be in order to create the how. But as long as I kept my mind to saying, okay, how do I do that right now? How do I do that in the midst of where I am? How do I do that even though I know I don't have the budget for it? How do I do that? The moment that I start asking my mind how, my mind starts to give me things that I can do right where I am to accomplish that goal. But the moment that I say, but I would do it if I had, my mind drifts to saying, well, you can't do that because you're limited. And there are no limitations. That's one of the biggest things that in my coaching, whether it's business or personal development coaching, that I want my clients to understand is that the only limitations that we have are the ones that we put on ourselves. The only limits, the only doubts, the only boundaries that we have are the ones that we allow in our own lives. So that's just something that I want you guys to think about, something to really ponder on as you continue to build your businesses and as you continue to advance your careers and do whatever it is that you do, accomplish whatever goals that you're attempting to accomplish. I want you to think about how often do you make those type of excuses? How often do you limit yourself because of something you don't have, and inadvertently you're telling yourself, I can't do that because I don't have this. Maybe you don't have the social media marketing team, but guess what? That means you're going to have to post 2, 3, 4 times a day. You're going to have to do it yourself. The beautiful thing about it is you probably can set it up to some kind of automated thing where it'll do it automatically, but you're going to have to take a weekend and build up the content. You're going to have to take a whole weekend and build up enough content for a month so you can program it and so that it can post out the way it's supposed to. If you don't have the budget to do something in your business, you're going to have to figure out how do you accomplish it even without that particular budget. But the key word is how. I think the moment we understand and realize who we are, And that's something that I'll pause on because I want you to understand what I'm saying, who we are. I'm not just talking about the human being of who we are. I'm talking about the spirit that's having this human experience. Once we figure out that we are spirit, we are connected to source, and we're just having this human experience, I think the moment we figure that out, we'll understand that there's always a how. Even if your manifested things or material things that are tangible right now don't line up with it, there's always a how to the man or the woman that understands who they are, and understands how powerful they are, and that understands all I have to do is ask myself the right question. All I have to do is direct my conscious and subconscious mind in the right direction. But when I direct those things to, I could do it if, and realizing that I do not have the if tangibly right now, then what I do is I put limits, I put boundaries around myself, and I force my mind to only think in one way versus the infinite intelligence that I have that could give me the strategy to accomplish anything without a budget, without the help, or without whatever it is that I think I currently need. So with that being said, you guys, no more limitations. Stop saying but. Stop putting yourself in a position to where you drift off on these tangents about, I would do coaching if I had the money. It's not about if you had, it's about how do you get the money. Because the moment you start thinking about how you get the money, trust me, you will find it. Because it will all become so clear, and the steps and everything that you need will just be laid out before you. Why? Because you're determined, and you forced yourself to not think of what you're doing as a but a how. So with that being said, again, you guys, I'm RJ Hodges. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Be sure to check me out on all social media. I'm at RJHodgesSpeaks on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everything else you can think of. I also have a business group for those of you that are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. And the name of that group is called Superior Entrepreneurs, and it's on Facebook. So you can look that up as well. All right, you guys, I will talk to you soon. Have a great one.